Welcome to Alive to Thrive OT. I'm Tracy Schnabel.
And I'm Lauren Lyman.
We are two occupational therapists that noticed a gap in the healthcare system, predominantly with nutrition and mental health. But we have a disclaimer alert. This podcast is just for informational purposes only. Please consult one of your specific medical providers for any concerns that you have. We do not give any warranties or representations for the information provided. If you have any emergency concerns, please call 911 right away. And without further ado, we're going to talk to Lauren about our topic.
So today we are making it a little more personal than normal. So we are talking to you about the 10 things that we do to stay healthy. I shouldn't say the 10 things, just 10 things in general. Like these are things that we think are the most important to stay healthy. So one thing I'm going to say before we get started is that only half of them focus on the physical body. The other half are the mind and the spirit, because health is really a triangle of mind, body, and spirit. And when you're not focusing on all three, when you're just targeting one, it's really hard to be healthy because the body affects the mind and the spirit, and the mind and the spirit affect the body. So if you're only focusing on the body, you're not going to have a totally healthy body. You know, you may have the superficial wants of like, I'm skinny or, you know, I'm pretty or whatever, my skin looks flawless. But if you're not focusing on those emotional needs, psychological needs, and spiritual needs, eventually that will take a toll on your body in terms of like your organs and your health from the inside out. So we don't want to just focus on superficial health and the outer body, but we want to focus on everything. So
or sometimes the inverse too. Like sometimes people are so in their head and then they don't get the physical done, and the physical sometimes can jumpstart the mind. So it's good to interconnect both. That's why we have to integrate.
Sometimes it's like, what came first, the chicken or the egg, right? So like, what came first, my lack of nutrition and exercise or my depression? What's causing what? And then you get stuck in that downward spiral. It just gets worse and worse. So we want to incorporate these things so that you can get on an upward spiral and then have more of a happy, positive life and good health, good holistic health. So this is not an exhaustive list by any means. There are other things that we throw in, but these are the things that we thought were really important. So number one, we're going to start with the body first. Number one is water, drinking enough water. You need water to pump up your cells so that your cells can be at their full potential and work. So you need water. You need hydration in order for everything in your body to work properly. So water is super important. And I'm not talking about hydration in general, because although it's nice to have, you know, a cup of coffee every now and then, it's really not adding to your hydration that much. It doesn't dehydrate you, but it really doesn't hydrate you in a positive way. So water, what do we do about water? We've been saying this in a lot of videos. Yeah. If you take your body weight in pounds and divide it by 2, then that's how many ounces of water you should drink. So if someone is 140 pounds, divide that by 2, they should be drinking 70 ounces of water every single day. And that is a general rule for just people who are healthy and don't have any kind of dietary or water restrictions. So water is important. Number 2 is nutrition. Obviously, eating healthy. We need to fuel the car, right? We need to put good gasoline in that car to get it running properly. We need to change the oil and give good quality oil to get that motor running, right? Same with our bodies. So if you're feeding your body a bunch of junk and you're feeling full, just because you feel full because you have food inside of you doesn't mean that you're fueling your body. So eating those raw fruits and vegetables, you know, getting good sources of protein. So, you know, you want to eat the rainbow every single day, get in every color of the rainbow in your fruits and vegetables. Try to eat raw when you can, although it's a little harder on the digestive system with some of those vegetables. It might make you bloated or gassy. If you are going to cook, steaming is the best way to go because it preserves a lot of those nutrients, where pan frying or cooking in the oven gets rid of a lot of those nutrients that you need. So, microwaving is awful because it changes the chemical properties of food. So really being mindful about what you're putting into your body. And that's not to say like, I have to be on a diet. I can't eat anything that's bad for me. Just really try to incorporate a lot of things that are good for you. Have a goal to eat the rainbow every day. And then when you achieve that, you're like, hey, I did something great for my body.
Yeah, just one salad with one of your meals will be good. And as in Israel, my friend said that they have a salad at the beginning of every day. And he thought it was so strange that in America we have like sausage and eggs and
pancakes.
lots of like heavy, really fattening food.
Yeah.
He's like, we start our meals off with salads. But even if you don't want to do that, just incorporate it in one of your meals.
And if you're really struggling, then you might want to consider a whole food nutritional product. We take one because even though we are working hard to nourish our bodies and do the right thing, it's nice to have that safety net. So we get 30 fruits and vegetables in every single day just with that nutritional product. So if you're interested in that, just let us know and we can give you some more information. And then the next one is exercise, obviously, is important. It's good to... A lot of people look at exercise as a way to, again, superficially address health. Like, oh, I'll lose fat, I'll lose my muffin top, or I'll get this fat off my thighs or whatever. But it's not really just about that. One of the major predictors of health is visceral fat, and that means the fat that's on your organs, the fat that you don't necessarily see because it's deep in your body. And exercising, working that heart, getting everything pumping, the blood flowing, and getting the fat out of your arteries, that's what's really important. So while it's great that you don't have your muffin top, really what's important is that you're not having fat stuck in your arteries or stuck in your organs. And, that's where diet comes in too, eating those nutritious foods to help you clear out your arteries. But then also exercise helps remove some of that fat by getting your heart rate up, getting the blood flowing a little bit faster.
It also helps your immune system. Physicians have found that as well. So that's an extra bonus, especially during these times.
Yes. Another thing I want to say about exercise is it doesn't have to be like, oh, I have to set aside an hour every morning to exercise. You can fit it into your routine here and there. And we just did a video about squats and how important squats are for your health and how it actually works your cardiovascular system. And there are ways to incorporate that into daily activities. So check out that video and, throw things in here and there that you are like, hey, I have a couple minutes. I'm going to do some jumping jacks or do some squats or whatever.
I try to park farther away from the grocery store or wherever I'm going. All my friends hate me for it, but it's a really good way just to get extra steps in, or take the stairs instead of the elevator. Really simple things can build up over time.
I do believe that there are some supplements that are needed because of the way of the world right now. Personally, I take vitamin D because I know I don't get enough. You can see my face. I don't get enough time in the sun. Yeah. And vitamin D is crucial to immune support. It's crucial to a lot of different functions of your body. And it's one of the main predictors of health is your vitamin D levels. So if you're not out in the sun all day long, you're probably going to need it. And depending on the tone of your skin, if you are a dark toned person, you're going to need more sunlight. And if you're a light-skinned person, you'll need less sunlight. That's just the way the pigmentation works and the protective forces that we have in our skin tone. But in general, most people are vitamin D deficient. It's just a fact because we work inside. We spend a lot of our time inside. If you live in a colder climate and you don't like to be cold, you're inside. So I was taking vitamin D over the summer. I decided to cut back on it and only take it maybe every other day because I was spending a lot of time out in the sun. I was out with my son for a couple hours every day, and I was still super deficient in vitamin D. My levels were like, I think 21 or 23.
Wow.
And that's being out in the sun every day. So, and I'm light skinned, so it shouldn't take that long for me to get vitamin D. But yeah, it wasn't cutting it. So that's kind of saying a lot. So if you are darker skinned than me, which let's face it, most people are, you're really going to need a lot of time out in the sun to make that need met. And there's really not a lot of food that contributes to vitamin D. So getting that supplementation in is important, I think.
And with the lockdown, a lot of people are working from home. I was working from home, and there was some days where like I didn't even go outside because I had so much going on with work, and then you make dinner and then you clean up and then you're exhausted from not getting any sunlight. So it's this endless cycle. So it's real easy to get caught in that. So make sure you get that supplementation, but also make sure you get outside.
And then vitamin K is important because vitamin K helps your body absorb vitamin D. So you will reach a threshold where you're no longer able to absorb vitamin D because you don't have enough vitamin K. So you want to make sure you can get a supplement that's D and K, or you can take them separately, whatever you want to do. You want to make sure it's vitamin D3, not D2, and vitamin K2. So those are the ones that are best absorbed and used by the body. So vitamin K will help you absorb that vitamin D. Vitamin A is another thing that's really important because vitamin A is needed to prevent cells from being taken over by viruses. So if you think about any type of virus, let's do measles. Let's do something crazy, right? Think about measles. It attacks your cells and it takes over them. And then once it takes control, it uses your cell's ability to replicate the virus so that it spreads and gets bigger, right? So vitamin A prevents that from happening. Vitamin A is like your cell's defense. Like you're not invading us. You're not taking over. You're not using us to do your bad things. So that's great and all, but when you think about people who die from the measles, they're not actually dying from the measles. They're dying from secondary infections because the measles depleted their vitamin A, and then they didn't have any vitamin A left over for the next thing that came at them. So that's why a lot of people end up dying in countries that are, they don't have access to healthcare, or people are malnourished or whatever. So vitamin A supplementation is just great for the immune system. Personally, what I do to get all of that in is I take a vitamin D3 supplement, and then I take a separate supplement that has vitamin A, D, E, and K all in it together. And the D in that is so small that it's not enough, so you need the extra one. So, and vitamin E is great for your skin, so you get a little extra thrown in there. So if you're interested in learning about specifically what I take, feel free to contact me, let me know, and I'll send you that information. And then the last one is magnesium. So magnesium is something that's found in the soil, but our soil is so contaminated with pesticides and herbicides and weed killer and all this stuff that the magnesium has been stripped out of our soil. So it's a lot harder to get magnesium from plants today than it was, 100 years ago. And most people are deficient in magnesium, but what people don't realize is it won't show up in a blood test because 90% of the magnesium in your body is not stored in the blood. So if your blood test comes up fine, well, that's only 10% of what you really need. So you really don't know just from a standard blood test. But most people are deficient in magnesium, and magnesium is one of those things that's just so crucial, like vitamin D, so crucial to total health. Magnesium is, used to help with depression, anxiety, insomnia. It's used for cramping in your muscles. It's used because it helps you maintain or helps you absorb water in your muscles. It's good for... Gosh, I'm like blanking, seriously, when people tell me like I'm having a problem with XYZ, my go-to is always magnesium because it helps with so many different things. And I have a really great resource that goes through the different types of magnesium and what areas it targets. And I will put that in the description of the video so you can reference that.
I just went to a sensory deprivation chamber, and they infused the water with magnesium to help your body get that extra support that it needs, and people love it that have a lot of muscle tension. And
that's why Epsom salt baths are so great for muscles and cramping and restoring and healing. It's not the salts themselves, it's the magnesium that's in them that's getting absorbed into your bloodstream, because skin is your largest organ and there's really no filter. Yeah. So when you're ingesting, you have a bit of a filter, but when you're submerging in magnesium, it's just all getting absorbed into your bloodstream. So it's really great for you. So those are the things that I personally take as a supplement. I take a vitamin D3, an A, D, E, K, and a magnesium. And that, to me, that's all I need, because the rest I'm getting through my nutrition and my whole food nutritional product. So when I get sick, I throw in some zinc and some quercetin. That helps with inflammation, which is the body's response to being sick. You get inflamed. So that'll help with that. And then zinc helps you get over viruses a little bit faster. So that's what we do for our physical body. But again, that's not enough to stay healthy. So what do we do for the mind and the spirit? One very important thing is setting aside me time every single day. And what does that mean? It means you doing something for yourself. Not for your family, not for your friends, not like, oh, well, you know, my kids and I did this. Like, that's great. That's awesome. But you do still need time to yourself to do something that's helping yourself. A lot of people and a lot of moms that I know, their me time is after I put the kids to bed, I stay up late watching TV because it's the only time I have to myself. And that's healing to a certain extent, but not only is that now sleep depriving, but it's also not really doing anything for you. So while it may give you that temporary sense of like, oh, I'm by myself and I'm taking care of myself, in the long run, it's really not actually improving your psychological, your mental health. So you want your me time to include something that is healthy for you. Like maybe if you can spend your me time outside, drinking a cup of tea outside, that's really great me time. Waking up a little bit earlier in the morning before the kids wake up if you have kids, or, you know, before you have to scramble to get ready for work, which this one does. Having that me time where you're like relaxing and you're taking a little bit of time to yourself rather than just like, oh my God, go, I got to get ready for the day. It really makes a big difference.
Or bath time is really helpful for you to relax.
Yeah.
Put some candles, put some Epsom salts.
So think about me time is the best first thing in the morning and right before you go to bed. So relaxing before bed really helps you sleep, and sleep is restorative. So you want to make sure you go to bed in a relaxed state. And then, did you wake up on the wrong side of the bed, right? That's a thing. That saying, that expression comes from like basically how you start your day is going to impact the rest of the day. So if you woke up on the wrong side of the bed, that means like, hey, you're crabby today. How did you wake up, you know? So starting out your day in a positive way is really good. So
also, like, at nighttime, I've been starting to use a diffuser, and that helps with essential oils to get me to fall asleep, stay asleep, and wake up on the right side.
The next one is socialization. We need human interaction to literally survive. Loneliness is a predictor of death and heart health. So literally when people say like, I died from loneliness, or died of a broken heart, died of heart attacks, things like that, that's a thing. That's not just an expression. And the heart, so if you look at what we draw as the shape of a heart, that, pretty heart, it doesn't look like the heart that's in our body, so it's kind of confusing. But when you take my heart and Tracy's heart and put them together, it makes that shape.
What?
It does, yeah. So look up a heart, and flip the image. Like if you put them together, it makes up that shape. So we need other people in our lives. We need to connect with others. Loneliness is so bad for your health. So, and I notice that, like if I'm not getting enough social interaction, if I'm not getting, and I love my kids to death, but they're also little, so I don't get the same social interaction from my son that I would from an adult. So if I'm not getting that interaction, I notice my mood shift big time. So that's something that I try to incorporate into my everyday life. And especially if you're living alone, finding a buddy that you can call. Scheduling calls is sometimes great too, because we always say we're going to do things and then life gets in the way. So being like, hey, you're coming over every other Monday starting now, and then you make that plan, and then you stick with those plans, and you'll see like your mood really starts to improve.
Yeah, and with depression and risk for suicide, it's when you don't feel like you have support. So it's really important for mental health to have that support. So I know when I was at home with the lockdown, it was really hard because I was like, oh my goodness, I'm not getting that social interaction every day. So I tried to at least once a week see family or friends to be able to get that socialization, because eventually you start to feel it. It's a weird feeling. You're like, something's off. What is it? I'm doing everything right.
Yeah. And also a socialization is the physical sense too. So they've actually done studies about hugs, and it takes 30 seconds to get the full benefits of a hug, and it really does improve your physical health and your mental health. So getting in those hugs throughout the day, and I think that there was another study that showed that moms need like an average of 11 hugs a day. So are you getting that? And especially during these times, like, are you getting that? So as silly as it sounds, like, just making sure you're setting time aside for that, like, physical interaction, or just like of a hug, something so basic, right, that we take for granted, and it really does have a huge impact on our health. So, and doing it in whatever way that you feel is safe for yourself. So yeah, that socialization component is really important. Another one is breathing, right? Of course, breathing is important, but are you breathing correctly? Because most of us aren't. So if you look at a baby breathing, their belly goes up and expands, and it goes back down and up and down. And it's the most beautiful thing, because they have this circular breath naturally. And it's because they haven't developed their accessory muscles for breath. And a lot of adults use those accessory muscles primarily instead of using their diaphragm. So if you're breathing, is your belly going in and out? Because if it's not, you're not breathing right. So if it's just your lungs expanding, if your chest is rising and falling, you're using your accessory muscles. So look up a breathwork class, because you practicing breathwork with an instructor, eventually you'll be trained in doing it on your own, and you setting aside time to do breathwork exercises, eventually it'll become more second nature, and you'll start breathing correctly during the day. And obviously oxygen is important to oxygenate our muscles, our tissues, our organs, our brain. It's so important for health. So you're probably going to question me a little bit when I say this, but your breath can actually cure disease, because a lot of conditions like cancer are related to acidosis and hypoxia, not having too much acid in your blood and not enough oxygen in your blood. So having excessive amounts of carbon dioxide and not enough oxygen in the blood causes disease. So literally you can reverse disease by breathing properly. And I'm not saying like cancel all your therapies and just breathe, but it has a huge impact on your health. So you focusing on that should be, if you're sick in any way, shape, or form, that should be something you're really focusing on, is mastering your breath work.
Or even if you have pain, like a lot of my patients in occupational therapy outpatient clinic, like I could not get their arms to move, or certain joints would just not move. I'd tell them to breathe, and it was like magic. All of a sudden, great mobility just after the breath work. So sometimes your whole body is really tense, and you just need to have the breath to relax. So it helps in a lot of different ways that we don't realize.
And then the next one is mindfulness. So what is mindfulness? That's basically living in the moment, paying attention to what you're doing. So if you're mindful eating is a huge one. If you're eating food, are you enjoying food with a group of people, with your family? Are you sitting at the table and really being like, oh, wow, this tastes X, Y, and Z. This is really savory, or this is a little bit spicy. Are you noticing what's going on in your day-to-day life? Or are you sitting on the couch vegging out on potato chips that really don't even taste good, but mentally, like, it feels good for you because it's like comforting, right? So being mindful of food, being mindful of your activities, being mindful of whatever you're doing. Are you sitting on your phone while you're talking to somebody? Are you sitting on your phone while you're eating dinner? Put your phone away and like live in the moment, process what people are saying, listen to the conversation, enjoy the moment. And, you know, that can be something as simple as just sitting down and listening to music and really listening to the song. I've done that a lot lately, and it's incredible the messages that I've received from music. Like, some song will come on and I'll be like, wow, this really resonates with me in such and such way. And I'm not saying like somebody sent me this song. If maybe somebody did. If you believe that, great. If you don't, you don't have to believe that. But the way that you interpret the song in that moment is therapeutic, and it's helping you. So just being mindful of what you're doing can have a major impact on your health.
Wow. Yeah, and I heard too that there's a saying, depression is when you're perseverating on the past, anxiety is when you're worrying about the future, and happiness is found in the present when you're just enjoying right now.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And then keeping an open mind. That's something newer to me in the last 3 years, I'd say, and it has had the biggest impact on my health. I'm so much happier. So keeping an open mind, constantly being open to learning and having a growth mindset. So if you're wrong about something, do not dig your heels in and be like, no, I have to be right. I have to be right. I love being wrong because it's a great opportunity for me to learn, and learning is growing. And that's something we should be doing every single day, right? We want to be learning. We don't know it all, and it's okay to not know it all. It's okay, as an occupational therapist, it's okay for me to say like, hey, I didn't catch this in my son because I don't know everything, even though like this OT may have seen it, I didn't see it or whatever. I'm just using a random example. But we don't have to know everything, and that's okay. If you go to your doctor and your doctor makes up some answer, that to me, that drives me nuts. I'd rather have a doctor that says, I really don't know, but I know someone who can answer, or I can refer you to someone else, or let me look it up for you. I really respect that, and it makes me trust the person so much more, because admitting when you're wrong is a really great quality in someone, and it really fosters a healthy relationship.
Humility, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so you don't have to be right all the time, and I think that's something like a myth that we need to debunk. Being wrong isn't a bad thing. It's an opportunity for growth. It's what you do with being wrong that makes you who you are, right? So if I find out I'm wrong about something, am I gonna just backtrack and pretend I wasn't wrong? Am I gonna just like hide and be like, oh, I'm just gonna stop talking to this person? Or am I gonna dig my heels in and be like, no, I know I'm right? Or am I gonna be like, wow, thank you for sharing that with me, and I'm gonna look into that further? And then I just grew. I had a great epiphany. I had a great moment, right? So being open-minded and willing to learn and willing to be wrong has had a huge impact on my life, and it's really started me on this incredible journey over the last 3 years that I'm really excited about. So it's changed my life, literally. So the last one is the Serenity Prayer. So God grant me the serenity, whether you believe in God or not, think of the concept. God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. And I may have flip-flopped those, but the concept's there. So can I change this? If I can make a change, I'm going to make a change, because that's my purpose in life, is to have a positive impact on the world, right? If I can't change this, am I going to sit here and cry about it? And maybe I will, and that's okay, because I need to live through those emotions and to get past them. I need to feel them, and I need to grieve for something I cannot change in order to overcome that mindset. But I'm not going to sit there my whole life and be, poor me, this happened to me and there's nothing I could do about it. Poor me, this is going on in the outside world. Poor me, I'm a victim of my circumstances. And I'm not saying that's like something that's weak or that makes you a bad person or anything. I'm just saying, like, we all have the potential to take control of our lives. And if we're not in a position where we're doing that, find someone who can help you get into that position, because it's so empowering to step out of that victim role, that poor me, and be like, I have control over this, and this is what I'm going to do, and this is what I'm going to focus on. And it's really rewarding.
Yeah, much better for your health too. What can I do?
Yeah, and it's
what can I not?
Part of cognitive reframing. How are you looking at a situation? Bad things happen all the time, and that's just life. Yin and yang, good and bad. You have your good emotions and your bad emotions. Really, the only thing that should be primarily good is your behavior. Everything else is in balance, and that's just a part of life. We have positive, negative. We have good and bad. We have happy and sad. Like, that's just a part of life. And once you accept that and you're able to reframe the way you look at something, if you see, let's say something bad happens to you and you see it as like, this is bad, this is bad, this is bad. That's not a place of growth. That's a place of constant mourning. And that's not something that we want to feel. You want to be able to mourn, but then you want to be able to look at that and be like, because this happened to me, now I can do this. Or because this happened to me, I learned this. Or because this happened to me, like, this is, it shifted my life path. And now I'm on, I'm off to do bigger and better things. So everything does happen for a reason, but if you're not open to that reason, if you're not open to growing from a situation, you're going to stay stuck. And then it will be, this happened to me and this was a horrible thing, because if you can't grow from it and you're stuck in it constantly, it's going to swallow you up, and then you're never going to feel fulfilled in life.
Wow. Yeah. My friend Viv used to always say too, like, don't talk about it, be about it.
Yeah.
Because I would get so upset about so many things going on today. She'd be like, Tracy, don't talk about it, be about it. And then that's pretty empowering. Like, okay, all right, I'm going to see what I can do.
Yeah, so it's important to acknowledge our emotions and feel our emotions. You don't want to avoid feeling your emotions, but don't get stuck in them. There's a really healthy balance of, what you're feeling and what you're doing. And you want to be somewhere in the middle of that. You want to allow yourself to feel, but you also want to take action and constantly be moving your life forward towards the things that you want to achieve. So if you need help with that, we're here. We can help you. I am a holistic health and wellness coach, so I can help you kind of take these struggles and develop an action plan. Tracy does a lot of Reiki and helps you get through emotional blockages that could be holding you back. We also have a team of amazing providers in Awake Oneness Tribe. And providers from like naturopathic doctors and chiropractors all the way to psychics and hypnotists. And everything in between. So whatever you're feeling, we do have a needs assessment. If you want to fill it out, we can help match you with a local provider that can help you in the Chicagoland area. If you're open to virtual, we can help you even if you're not in the Chicagoland area. So I'll put that in the description so you have access to that. So that is it for today. That is what we do to stay healthy. Those are the things that have transformed our lives. And if you need help, we are happy to help you do the same, because every person that we can help improve the life of, we are improving the quality of the world. So thank you for being here with us. Please like our video. Please share our video with other people. Sign up for alerts so that you know when we're posting new videos. Subscribe to our channel. And then, just please visit us at Facebook, www.facebook.com/Lauren and Tracy. Please email us if you need help with anything or have any questions or concerns at alivetothrivot@gmail.com. And that's it.
And as always, we are wishing you physical, spiritual, and emotional well-being. Thank you so much for being here. We appreciate you.